Hello there everyone and welcome to the Billowing Peonies layering guide video. So first up, I've stamped the two images onto a large piece of white cardstock and I've just used some jet black ink. I'm then going to be taking the first stencil, so it has a 1 and an L on, and I'm just going to line this up with the top flower that we have on the large cluster. And for this layer here, I will be using the pink diamond ink. I'm then going to take the second stencil, so 2L, and I'm just going to pop this into place onto the larger or the bottom flowers on that cluster, again using the pink diamond ink to add that into place. I can then move on to the third stencil, so this is 3L, and I've lined up the top flower into place using the top of the stencil, and I'm just going to be adding some of the very pretty Pinkalicious ink to add the colour through the stencil. All I need to do then is just gently move that stencil up to add in the second layer to the large flower at the bottom. So once that's done, we're then going to move on to stencil number 4. So this is the 4L, and both of the flowers are going to go directly into place with just one placement of this stencil. And this time around, I will be using the Rubellite ink to add the ink through the stencil. I'm using a small blending tool, but you could use a larger one if you wanted to cut down on blending time. I'm then going to take the fifth stencil, so this is 5L. Again, this is going to pop into place onto both of the images at once. And for this layer of colour that we have here, I am going to be using the Razzleberry ink just to add in those darker tones to the flowers. I'm then going to line up the centre on the 6L stencil, and I'm just going to add the leaves into place as well, so the centre and the leaves all kind of line up at the same time. So for the base of these leaves, I will be using the Sweet Leaf ink to add the ink through the stencil. I am trying to add more of that ink to kind of the base of the leaf rather than the tips, and that's going to give us that beautiful gradient effect. For the flower center, I am going to be using some of the butternut ink. I'm just going to add in the rest of the leaves that I did leave out the first time around, but we've added in the flower centers in the center. I'm then going to add in the other little layers to the flower centers too, and I'm just going to use some of the pumpkin pie ink for that one. Now we're on to 7L stencil, and I've lined up the leaves and also the flower centers just in one placement. So for the second layer of these leaves, we will be using the Just Green ink, again trying to add more of that ink to the base of the leaf to give us that beautiful natural effect there. I will be using yellow ochre to add in the final layer of those flower centers. Now we're going to move on to the other flower cluster that we have. Now the flowers on this one do come in separate pieces, so you could colour these in all different colours if you wanted to. But I am going to just be using the pink diamond ink to add the colour to these. So the stencil that I am using here is 8S, and that the S refers to the small cluster that we have. I'm then going to go on to 9S, and for this one here, I'm just going to line up all of the flowers all in one go. And the colour that I am using is the Pinkalicious ink. I did line up the flower centres as these didn't stencil. I'm then just going to twist this stencil around and add in the flower centres. First up, we are going to use that very pretty butternut ink. I'm then going to use the next stencil, which is 10S, and I'm adding in the third layer of the flowers, and that time I did use the Rubellite ink. I'm then going to twist that stencil around, pop it back into place using the flower centers as my guide, and use Razzleberry to add in the last layer there. I'm then going to move on to the leaf layer. This is 11S on the stencil. I'm just going to twist that around so I have the leaves popping through the stencil and also the flower centers. And for those, I am going to be using that Sweet Leaf ink again. So for the base of these flower petals that we have, the flower centers, I did use the Sunray that time around, and then added in the little leaf at the bottom using Sweet Leaf ink again. So I'm then going to go on to the final stencil that we have. So this is 12S. I'm just going to pop that into place over the leaves. And for the leaf detail, I am going to be using the Just Green ink. And there we go. I'm just going to add in the flower centers, and we're just going to add the pumpkin pie to that one there. And that is the layering complete. We really do hope this video helps. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.